My name is Gerry Creighton Jr. and I've been a keeper here for the last 13 years in the zoo.
Hi, my name is Phillips. I've been a zookeeper in Dublin Zoo for 5 years. I look after the giraffes, sea lions, penguins, tropical birds and reptiles.
My name is Byrne. Working in the zoo 30 odd years. 30 years and a bit. At present I look after hippos and elephants.
Hi, my name is Eddie O'Brien. I work here in the reptile house of Dublin Zoo. I am working here now over 8 years.
My name's Peter Wilson and I'm the director of Dublin Zoo. Zoos don't have chief executives, they have directors, and as such I'm responsible for all the many things that have to happen to make the running of a modern zoo successful.
Come in the morning, have a look around your section, check all the animals, make sure that, there's nothing happened during the night and that they're all in good health. You check their enclosures to make sure that there's been no damage done, and then you just let them out into their outside enclosures for the day, and then the main part of the morning is involved in cleaning and doing food preparation, getting the food ready. Then in the afternoon, if the vet comes in, you could be assisting the vet in surgical procedures and just checking your animals and decorating their homes, their houses, and it involves everything. There's all sorts of things to keep you busy. The animals I look after in the zoo at the moment, there's a lot of the meat eaters, which is the jaguars, cheetahs, wolves, bears, and some of the primates. Come on, Ben. Here, Ben. Come on. Come on, Ben. There's Blondie in for meat. Stop, Ben. That's Ben. The reason why they're two females, but one is called Ben. He spent the first couple of months of his life down in Cork, and he was under the impression that it was a male. But they realised then it was a female. But the two hand-reared animals, and they're two very good friends, and they're great companions for each other here. The main part of the diet here is horse meat. We also give them some chickens and some rabbits as well. They roughly eat 4 to 5 pounds of meat a day. There's a big variation in the diets. It can start from the small little tamarins, which they eat food or fruit, chopped fruit and veg, and mealworms, right up to the polar bears and the lions, which they eat up to polar bears with 20 pounds of meat per day, and the lions up to about 14 pounds of meat per day. And then all the monkeys in the islands get a full range of fresh fruit and vegetables. There's a big variation in the amount of times they're fed. Like, there is some animals that would only be fed once a day, mainly meat eaters, and like the cats, they would only be fed in the evening time, and then they'd sleep for most of the evening. But with the likes of the monkeys and the polar bears, they can be fed for anything up to 2 to 3 times a day, which is to increase activity and for enrichment purposes, like to keep them active and busy during the day. So from anything from 1 up to 3 times a day. Before, all the monkeys were in a monkey house with basically just concrete and bars. Now they're all out on islands, and they've plenty of trees, and it's much more natural, and it increases a lot more natural activity, and generally they're all kept in social groups. So there's been a big change in their behaviour, and it's quite obvious to see, to look at them, that they're very, very happy in their new homes. Well, from time to time you get the opportunity, if there's a young animal that has been rejected by its mother, to take the animals home. And we've had a whole range of them, like from gorillas to, we had the first gorilla born in Ireland, the first orangutan in the house, the snow leopards, and to have them and to take them into your home and for them to become part of your family for a period of time is It really is rewarding, and it's like because you become so attached to them, and it's a great part of the job because it's so unusual, and I think that in itself is worth a lot. The most recent one that we've had at home was Rena, which was the first orangutan ever born in Ireland, and she was at home for nearly almost a year, and like she was completely part of the family, and it was the same procedures looking after a baby. She had nappies changed and on the Malupa baby food, and the kids in the street and my sister's kids would come in and they'd play with her and she'd interact like as normal like she would with a child. And now we're in the process of reintroducing her back into the group of orangutans. So that is really rewarding to see that too, because she's going to see if like something that was so small and now eventually will take its place as part of the group in the zoo.
There's quite a bit of work with the sea lions. We've 5 sea lions at the moment. The idea behind the husbandry training is to allow the animals to have close human contact, but yet not have them been afraid of us. There was a time in the past where the sea lions were fed from a ramp and you couldn't actually get very close to them, so if we needed any veterinary procedures done with them, they would have to be darted and knocked out, which is very stressful for the animals. Now, if we need to give them eye drops, or if the vet needs to x-ray them, we can call them up, summon them, and we can give them eye drops at the moment, but we're hoping eventually they'll be able to step on weighing scales. We can weigh them, take blood samples, or x-rays if they need it, without any stress to the animal or without much veterinary interference. It's just a matter of trying to build up trust and knowing how far you can go with each particular animal, because they're just like people or dogs. You know, everyone's different. They have their good days, their bad days. You know, some days they're in great form, other days they bite the hand off if they give them half the chance. Grania, come on. Come on, come over now. Come here. Well, we've 3 giraffes here at the moment. The big one at the back, that's Oisin, he's the male. This is Grania, she's a female, she's 18 years of age. And that's Hayley, she's 3 years of age. She came from London Zoo. These two, Oisin, are Grania and Hayley are mongrels. There's 8 different subspecies of giraffe, and Oisin's the only purebred one. He's a Rothschild's. But she's had calves here. I think she's had about 6 or 7 calves since she came. She has one every about 3 years. Well, they mainly get one big feed in the evening. I feed them. We give them hay and water outside, and a browse occasionally in the summer. And they get most of their. They get fruit and vegetables, cabbage. Like they love bananas, oranges, apples, onions. They love onions, but we don't give them too many onions because the place smells in the morning.
The average day is first thing you knock at the door in the morning, you make sure they're awake, and then you have a look at what you have to clean up, which they've left for you overnight, which isn't very pleasant. You get out your large borrow shovel and brush, and you start working. But elephants, they're very compatible animals. Of course, they're different characters, like humans. Kirsty has a lovely placid temperament. Judy is a little bit spoiled and can be a bully. Even with Kirsty, especially if there's food around. Judy is the typical matriarch figure. She's the leader. Kirsty totally respects her. It takes a while for them to adapt to new people. Elephants, unlike most animals, elephants have a choice, and they will soon let you know whether they're compatible with you or not, or you're compatible with them. You know, it's not just a case of going in and commanding them to do whatever you want. You know, you have to build up a bond and a relationship with them. More so with elephants because, I mean, later on your life could depend on it. You know, you have to have this bond between the two of them. And elephants tend to be a one-person animal. In Asia, where they actually work them in the teak forest and stuff like that, you know. I mean, those guys eat, sleep and drink with the elephants. It's just, it really is an extension of the family. A little bigger than the wife and kids, but I live with it. They need an awful amount of water. They need special pools. I mean, you're looking at, that pool there holds 18,000 gallons of water. It's 25 feet wide by 35 feet long. So for a volume of water that size, you've got to have special drains to take it away. And in the UK at the moment, well, including ourselves, there's only 5 collections that house hippos at present. Henry, okay, open up, open up, open up, up. Okay, all right, here's a good boy. Hey, here's a big baby. Hey, here's a big baby. Henry stands 5 feet tall and weighs about 2.5 tons, 12 feet long. Hippos, in their natural habitat, have a very aggressive reputation. There's actually up to 300 people a year killed by hippos, with the result that they're not normally handled, free handling in zoos. Hippos live around 45 years in the wild. In zoos, they have a longer lifespan, another 5-10 years. We're going to eat, are we? Are we? Are we going to eat this morning, are we? Huh? Are we? Are we? Huh? Are we? Now, okay. Okay. Henry and Linda consume roughly 40 kilos of food per day. Hippos will eat most foods, anything but meat or fish. Most fruit, bread, veg. Hay, of course, their main diet, and concentrates. Okay. Hippos are semi-aquatic animals. They spend about 80% of their life in water. They actually mate in the water. The calf is born underwater. The calf can swim before it can walk. And the calf also suckles underwater. Gestation is quite short for a large animal. It's roughly 8 months. All right, Henry. Now, Henry, get in and wash yourself. Okay.
This snake here is a Burmese python. Everything else in the house is from East Africa, bar this guy here who's from India. So he's the only non-East African reptile. He's about 5 years old and he's about 5 foot long. He's only a baby. They can reach about 20 foot when they're fully grown. The temperature in the house is at 28 degrees, but also in some of the exhibits they have heat lamps and things like that, which it gives them extra heat again. Because most of the reptiles are cold-blooded animals, so they need to get warm, and they can't make their own body heat like ourselves, so they have to get from the heat source from the sun. It's expensive to run because of all the electricity that's being used in the house. The heating and all that is very, very expensive, yeah.
And he doesn't bite, no?
There you asked that question. They can bite, yeah, but they're not venomous. Come on over here and rub them. Yeah. Nice and easy.
One minute for the guy.
Bring him home.
The Dublin Zoo was founded in 1830 and as such is one of the oldest zoos in the world. Only London and Paris are older than us, 1826 and 1828. It was the time that the landed gentry, if you like, the Duke of Northumberland founded Dublin Zoo, but the gentry decided really that the exotic animals that people were beginning to hear about that came from faraway places should be somewhere where the people could come and see them. Exotic from the Greek word means beyond hearing, so it was decided that people should be given a chance to see some of these exotic animals that they've been hearing about, and so zoos were founded and Dublin was founded at that time. Well, in 1994, the government approved a development plan which we put together with the Office of Public Works. The development plan was really a £15 million 10-year development plan to bring the zoo up to the standard that we all would like. We'd been struggling for about 10 years to make the changes that we knew were necessary, but we simply didn't have the capital money available and we were never going to generate it from the gate. So the capital development plan was approved by the government in 1994 to modernise the whole zoo and make it a zoo we can all be proud of. And basically the primary criteria, of course, improvements in animal welfare. That's the number one reason for making all the changes that we have to make. But in addition to that, we've also going to develop our education services so that we could further our twin aim of conservation and education and research. We've not forgotten, of course, that all the visitors at the zoo need improvements in the basic facilities that they want, restaurants, shops and so on. So the plan is improvement in animal facilities and then a large segment of attention being given to improvement of facilities for our visitors. And we hope it'll make a more enjoyable day out, and the more people that come, the more we'll be able to continue to do to improve the husbandry standards in the zoo.
We had a big male called Congola, and myself and another keeper came in one morning, and there was a new baby after being born, and Congola had the baby in his arms. He was after taking it away from the female. So the baby was becoming very, very distressed, and we didn't know like what we were going to do to get the baby away, because had we called the vet and brought the vet down immediately, that would have excited the whole group, and Congola would have more than likely just bashed the baby off the wall. So Congola, if he was went off his food or he was never feeling too well, he used to like a pint bottle of Guinness the odd time. So we decided to go up to the bar and we said we'd get him a few pints of Guinness. So we got 5 or 6 pint bottles of Guinness and we gave them to Congola one after the other. And he ended up just getting conked out and falling asleep in the corner of the cage, and we just went in and took the baby out and everything was grand.